Welcome to Viking Preparedness. Welcome to High Prairie Acres. I am Pastor Joe Fox. I'm just up here visiting for a few days. Hey, most people watch this channel because you're interested in one of two things, or maybe both. You're interested in preparedness and surviving, what's coming down the pike, and or you consider yourself, you are a saint of the Most High Yah, right? Which is another video for another time. I've already done some on that. But here's the deal. We're all trying to prepare for what's coming in one way or another, and I think an area, and I hit this sometimes, and I guess today I'm hitting it again, an area where we're lacking is our physical fitness. And an excellent way to get physically fit, or to get fitter, is to lose weight, is to start running, to start jogging. And I know a little bit about that, and to some people that seems like, well, that's just, I could never do that, right? Those runners, those little skinny people who run all the time, that's not me, man. It's just not what I do. Well, this body was created to run, all right? It was created to run. And I've done a fair bit of running in my life. When I went into the military, for the first 3 years, we ran about 3 times a week, about 4 miles at a time. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we'd go run 4 miles. And so I was a regular runner. And then when I went to Special Forces, we ran more, and then I got into what's called ultra marathons. And ultra marathons is a distance that is over 26.2 miles. That's a marathon, 26.2. And an ultra marathon is anything over that. And when I was doing that, I was running about 70 miles a week. And I was competing in races that were 30 miles, 50 miles, and even 100 miles long. I ran a couple 100-mile races. And so, you don't get there not knowing something about running. And so I'd like to pass some of that on to you. One more thing, my wife was a housewife, just your typical average suburban kind of pudgy housewife, and she decided that she wanted to run ultras. And so we gave her a little test, and I said, all right, run down the road as far as you can run without stopping. And she ran about 5 minutes, and that was it. And I got her from there to where she completed a marathon and started a ultra marathon. She did not complete the ultra marathon, but she completed a marathon. And so I think I can help you. And a couple things you need to know. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need to spend a lot of money to be a runner. The American way of doing anything is to throw money at it, right? You need this cool shirt, you need these cool shorts, or these running tights, or, whatever. You need this water bottle, this hat, this gear bag. No, you don't. The only thing you do need to spend money on is your shoes. And it would pay you to go out and get a good pair of shoes, and maybe do a little bit of research, because if you're heavy, and by heavy I mean if you're over 185, that's heavy. Yeah, right. If you're over 185, you need a pair of shoes that provide stability, and so you need to do some research on that. I really like New Balance running shoes. There's other good shoes out there. I'm with Pastor Dal. I personally don't buy Nike or Nike products. Another thing for another time, but New Balance is good. Any name brand running shoe, though, will work. Go get yourself properly fitted. Get some socks, put the socks on, and then stand on one of those little machines, where they measure how wide your foot is and how long it is, and get yourself a good pair of running shoes. Now, when you start running, and I'm going to go back to that, how you do that, but let me just finish this thought. When you start running, you need to keep a general log on your shoes. You only wear those shoes when you're running. You don't wear them to the mall, you don't wear them to the grocery store, or y'all forbid mowing your lawn, or something like that. You just wear them when you're running. And you really only want to run on a pair of shoes 600 miles. Now, to you who don't run, that's like, oh my Lord, that's a long way. I'll never run 600. Yeah, you will. And by the time a pair of shoes has gone 600 miles, they still look pretty good. So keep a log. And when you get to 300 miles on your shoes, buy another pair of shoes. Right? I know. And shoes aren't cheap, Trail running shoes are around 60 bucks and up, and running shoes are around 80 bucks and up. I got it. You're going to have to spend a little bit of money there. But then you have a pair of shoes that's 300 miles old and a pair of shoes that's 0 miles old, and you start wearing them, and then at that point, every other time you run. And so when the one pair gets to 600 miles, you make those your lawn mowing shoes, and you buy a new pair of shoes, and you have to do a rotation of your shoes. So please do that. It's important for you to buy proper shoes, because it's important to keep your legs and knees from getting injured by running. So there's that. Now, how do you run? Because right now some of you are looking at me eating Doritos or a Twinkie or a pizza or something, and you're like, I ain't gonna run. You know, last time I ran, whatever, right? Now, you need to. And so here's what I want you to do. Put on the best running shoes you have now, or go buy a pair. You know, that's fine. Treat yourself. And get out on a road, you know, a dirt road, a gravel road. Go to your high school track, somewhere safe, you know, a park, something like that. Look at your watch and start jogging. Just start jogging, and, you know, and see how many minutes you can do that before you have to stop. If you can go 30 minutes, you're ready to start running. If you can't go 30 minutes, if you can only go like my wife did, you know, the first time she tried, if you can only go like 5 minutes or something like that, okay, now you know. Now you have a starting point, okay? Take your starting point, because what we're trying to do is get you to the point where you can comfortably run 30 minutes at a shot. 30 minutes. To those of you who don't run, you're like, oh, God, I'll never be able to do that. Actually, yeah, you know, in about 3 weeks, you can go from not being able to run at all to being able to go 30 minutes. And so, if you can only go 5, here's what I want you to do. Run 5 minutes out, turn around, and just walk back. Do that every other day. Every other day, do that. Run as far as you can run, stop, turn around, and walk back. Do that until you can run at least 30 minutes. And then once you can run 30 minutes, just start varying up your runs a little bit. You know, do some runs fast on some days and do some runs slow, but go further, and try and get to the point where you can jog comfortably for about an hour. Now, I know some of you are saying, you're kidding me. You know, the idea of running and I'm not trying to make you an ultra marathoner. I'm not trying to make you a marathoner. I'm not trying to make you a half marathoner. I'm really not. You don't have to be that good a shape to be in general good shape. But, you know, the thought of running a 10K, which is 6.2 miles, a 10K trail run, you know, maybe you see one advertised in your local paper or something. There's going to be a 10K trail run down at the park or at the lake or something. That should not faze you a bit. You should be like, yeah, I'm in, and go do it. If you can get to that point, you've got a decent level of running fitness. And so start slow, build up to it. Once you get up to where you can run about, you know, 20 to 30 minutes, start doing easy days and hard days, slow days and fast days, kind of vary it up a little bit. And take a break. Only run about every other day until you get very comfortable running. If you're already very comfortable running, you know, you already know this video is not for you. But really, please, get out there and start moving your body. And again, everybody can run from here to the mailbox, right? You know, if somebody said there's $1 million waiting on you in the mailbox, you could run there. So start there. You know, I don't care how far you can or can't run. Start there and start running out as far as you can. Turn around and walk back, and do that until you can run for 30 minutes. All right. Hey, let me know how you're doing. All right. I'll see you out there.